Right, some bad news on the development front. One of the parts failed quality control. We know how to fix it, but it'll take some extra resource. It's on hold for now, but you can order the extra work from the laptop at any time.
That is just lovely to hear. Thank you, Chris. As you can see, everyone, welcome back to F1 2017 Career Mode. As you could tell, we had a part failure in the upgrade-wise. It failed, unfortunately, but that's not going to stop me from trying to do this upgrade again in hopes that maybe next time it will be successful. So we're going to, as you can see, I decided to take another crack at it. It's going to be ready for the next race in Britain, so hopefully this time it will succeed, and we can get maybe a little boost. We are going to be really close with the Renault after this upgrade. We might actually be edging them out, which will be really good, but we're coming off our first career podium in Azerbaijan, so hopefully we can have a good solid run here in Austria. I'm really excited for this race as we have come to our qualifying lap now. The goal is to qualify in 10th or better. Down the long straightaway now. In practice I had quite a bit of pace, well, not the best, but I was fairly happy with it. I feel like we're going to probably be maybe similar to Azerbaijan. I feel like we're about a 5th or 6th place car, and obviously in Azerbaijan I felt like that's what we were, but we got lucky with some guys just kind of being held up, and that's why we were able to get a podium. And I feel like it's really going to be the same situation this time again, so we're just going to get whatever we can and hope for some luck in this race, and see if we can maybe somehow sneak into a podium again, which I think is going to be unlikely 2 races in a row with this Williams team. But we're going to come to the end of our qualifying lap now, and we go P5 at the moment, and now I decided to attempt a second lap because I felt like I could gain a couple more tenths. I felt like I had another 2-ish tenths, maybe even better, in me, and obviously you can see at the moment I am currently running faster at the moment, not by much, but down the long straightaway we are gaining very little time. It's just about up to half a tenth. Hopefully it can go much higher than that. I did not want to do an extra lap on these tires just to gain half a tenth. I mean, that's not really going to help any. But now you can see the gap is starting to go up. It's now at a tenth as we come towards the last half of the lap. It's now over a tenth. We got through there much better this lap than we did last lap. It's just about 2 tenths now, and hopefully we can expand it just a little bit more before we hit the line here. Into the final corner, try to hit that the best I can, and we are going to go about 3-ish tenths faster right there, and that's still going to put us in 5th. But now we retire and or end qualifying, and we still qualify in P5. So I think I was actually fine with running 1 lap. We had a bigger gap than 3 tenths between us and Perez, so I think I could have just kind of ran 1 lap and still qualified 5th.
Not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today. Although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Raikkonen, Williams, and Perez, Ricciardo, Ocon, Verstappen and Nico Hulkenberg, Grosjean, Kvyat, Jolyon Palmer and Magnussen, Stroll, Sainz, Stoffel van Dorn and Pascal Wehrlein. Alonso and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, as you can see, it is raining pretty good. Our teammate Lance Stroll not starting good as usual, and if we can have another really solid race, I think we could actually become or get promoted to driver number 1 status, maybe this race or after Britain. But now we come to the race with 5 red lights now, and they are out, and we are underway in the Austrian Grand Prix as we get a little bit of a run up beside Raikkonen here. Going into turn 1, got to be really careful on these wet conditions. With these intermediate tires a little sideways, we made a little contact with Raikkonen's left rear tire. Heavy rain will pass in 5 minutes, so we just got to hang on. I decided to make a move up the inside of Raikkonen and even Valtteri Bottas. A little bit of contact possibly out of the corner there, but we got a caution there. But not sure what that was for, but we're going to fight back and pass Bottas as the conditions go back green. So we go from P5 to P3 in the first sector and a half of this race. I think we're going to have some decent short run speed, but once we get later in the run, these guys are probably going to be able to run me down. But these wet conditions, I think, are going to be really what keeps me in this battle. I think this is kind of one of the lucky breaks we needed to be able to have a solid run. Obviously, the rain's going to stop shortly. But this is going to be a good chance for me to gain some time, and I'm probably not going to gain on the top 2, but it'll certainly be much better for me than if it was dry to start. As Lewis Hamilton is now leading, obviously he was able to pass Sebastian Vettel for the lead right off the start. Hamilton has been struggling quite a bit this season. I mean, he's barely in front of me in points, and I'm in I think we're in 6th. So obviously he needs to have his luck turn around. It's really been bad luck is what's been holding him back. Maybe he will be able to make a late season charge. Then again, this is not really late season, but we're getting about mid-season point just about now. So as you can see, we are holding our own at this moment. Bottas isn't really closing much at all. He is certainly kind of within range to attack, but right now we're actually opening that gap up between him and myself. 1.9 seconds behind Sebastian Vettel. Come through the final few corners here, a little sideways in these conditions, which is actually pretty fun when you're using a wheel, I must say. But Bottas did actually close that gap a little bit there as it got so loose. But we'll end the second lap 2.5 seconds now behind Vettel, so we are losing quite a bit of time to him. And obviously, we're losing a lot of time to Hamilton as well. Still 2.5 seconds behind there, so we didn't really lose anything in that sector. We really do seem to get a pretty good acceleration off of the hill, but now we come to, I believe, lap 6, and we're coming into the final corners, and as you can see right there, we are just struggling for so much grip at this point already, and Bottas is now just set the fastest lap of the race, and it's actually lap 8, and he's certainly closing the gap. The rain has died down a bit. We're now in light rain conditions, and it is going to be ending pretty shortly, probably within the next 10-ish laps. And Vettel has now opened the gap between us to well over 3.5 seconds now. Our teammate Lance Stroll not running good at all. You can see on the map he's just out of turn 1, and he's just struggling. He's been struggling all season. I feel like we do have a pretty good chance of getting promoted at the end of this race to driver number 1 status. Got to be really concerned about Bottas closing that gap, but if you can see, we actually closed that gap on Vettel quite a bit. He is actually struggling with a mechanical issue at the moment. And obviously we're going to close that gap at a pretty steady rate until the team is able to get that fixed over there at Ferrari, as Hamilton now comes through to set the fastest lap of the race. Now we come to lap 10. We're getting ready to make a move on Vettel, as we have run him down, but I decided to check in behind him. We have a lot of pressure from behind with Valtteri Bottas. We're going to make a big move to the right side of Sebastian Vettel, who's still struggling with a mechanical problem, as Bottas is also looking to his left side. They might have made a little bit of contact there, but Vettel's going to try and make that inside work. It's not going to happen, obviously, with his problem, as now we come a little bit later, and Nico Hülkenberg has blown up. As you can see, we come through, it was in the second sector of the track, and he just blew an engine, and that's really unfortunate for him, but that is not going to be too big of a problem for us, as we are now in second due to the leaders pitting, and Hülkenberg is the first driver of this race to actually DNF. As we now come to lap 16, we're going to come to pit road this time by. The rain has stopped, and I'm going to come in and put the soft tires on, pitting from the second position, and now we get to see where we cycle out into this field. There, they put the soft tires on now. And right now we're running third, but will we cycle out there? It looks like we might.
Let's get some heat into those tires.
Gotta be careful on that pit exit. You don't want to carry too much speed in there. I've done that in league races where a couple times I've carried too much speed and crashed into the wall and either lost a wing or I DNF'd, which is always fun. But we do cycle out third. Radar is clear, which is good to hear. We do not have to worry. But as we come all the way to lap 25, we have a safety car now, full course yellow, for Esteban Ocon, who has, I guess, blown an engine. We are actually in second, as I just about lose the car out of turn 1, but this is the only view I could get of that crash right there from Bottas. He was certainly pulled off track, and it looked like smoke was coming out of his car. But I'm going to take this opportunity now to actually pit for super soft tires from second. I feel like this could be a big strategy call. I had to really get on the brakes to let Ricciardo go. I don't know what that was about, but I realized at this point in the race there's no chance I'm going to run down Kimi Räikkönen, so I said, you know what, let's make a pit stop and put on the super softs. We're going to lose some spots, but I feel like trying it just to see if we can make something happen here. Now, they said I was going to cycle out about 7th, but you can actually see I'm going to cycle out in 9th, which was not what I wanted, but I still feel like we may have enough tire to make it happen. Alright, now we get ready. The green flag is back out on lap 29, coming to lap 30 now, as we are going to restart in P9. Grosjean's here in 8th. We got a McLaren of Stoffel Van Dorn, pretty slow, but we're going to be able to get past him and both Grosjean pretty easily there. And as we come now to a little bit later in that lap, the end of the middle between sector 1 and 2, we got running P8 behind Max Verstappen. We certainly do have quite a bit of pace on these super soft tires. We're much faster at the moment, and we need to try and use that as our advantage. Unfortunately, Kimi Räikkönen is already checking out, which is not what we need at all. Come through the final corners. The third sector is really my weak spot on the track, but I'm trying to get through there the best I can. I did not want to cut the corner like that. That was completely my fault. So now we got a slow car here. That is our teammate Lance Stroll. We're going to go around the left side of him and duck to the inside of Verstappen with a big move. I was not anticipating making that move. He might have locked up or something there. I'm not really sure what happened to him. But we got past him, and that's really all that matters at this moment. Now we're approaching Valtteri Bottas once again, who we thought was going to be running us down earlier and passing us. And now I think about making a move up the inside of him, and I will do just that as we make a pass on a Mercedes car. And we have worked our way into the 6th position behind Sebastian Vettel now as we come to later in that lap, coming to lap 32 now. We do have a bit of a run on Vettel and Perez as well. I could make a move here into turn 1. We're going to go to the left side of him, try to make that work. We have a caution. I think that's Raikkonen. A little contact that's going to give me a little bit of wing damage. That is not what we needed, but it looks like Kimi Raikkonen, the leader, has DNF'd from this race, and now we do have the leader in sight. As we come to even later with just a handful of laps to go, we make a move outside, or up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo for the second position. And we have Lewis Hamilton, the leader, in our sights now, but the only problem is we do have slight wing damage, and it really has affected the handling more than I thought it would, as we do a little bit of a wheelie there, which is just brilliant. But now we come to the last lap, and unfortunately I've not been able to run Hamilton down. He's actually started pulling away. Unfortunately, I really think the wing damage that we got when Vettel and I made that contact outside of turn 1, I think that's what did me in there. The car just hasn't driven the same since then. But we came into pit road second, trying to see if we could get something better, and obviously we're still going to finish second, so it really wasn't a bad decision. But maybe if we would have stayed out and Raikkonen had that problem, maybe we could have somehow won. I don't know.
Less than a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
Tank is empty. Well, it's not fully empty, Jeff. Still got fuel here. Lewis Hamilton now approaching the final corners of the Austrian Grand Prix. I said at the beginning of this race, he needs his luck to turn around, and it's going to do just that here in the Austrian Grand Prix as Lewis Hamilton takes the victory, and we get our second career podium and our second consecutive podium. We kind of got lucky, similar to Azerbaijan. I kind of got lucky again to get on the podium, just with the rain and then the whole tire with the safety car situation. But I mean, we still earned our way up to that podium. We passed all those cars and made it happen.
Win today then, after a very difficult race. So, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Alright, let's see us celebrate on the podium with Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel.
Here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes there are on top today. So then, it's time to
Alright,
see
here's
how
our
this
finishing
result
order.
affects the
Hamilton
Drivers'
beat me by just
Championship.
over
It's a good
2
result for
seconds.
Sebastian
Vettel, the last guy on the
further
podium.
ahead at the top of the table.
Lance Stroll, our
Moving on
teammate,
to the driver
in
of the day
14th.
then.
And we had
Who would you
4
go
drivers DNF, and the big name there is Kimi Raikkonen. He was leading the race with just about 5 laps remaining when he blew up, so that's very unfortunate for him, as Vettel now has a 23-point lead on Bottas. Hamilton is up in the points a little bit more by a few spots, and in the constructors we still sit in 5th, and Ferrari leads Red Bull by 9, and Mercedes is climbing up in there, and they're out by 32, so they could be a factor. They probably will be a factor before the season's over. So there's the finishing order. I'm happy with second, I really am. So we can take that as encouragement into Britain, because I normally struggle there pretty good. So we are leading the rivalry against Perez. Our rep has went up a little bit, went up quite a bit there for Ferrari, which is pretty nice. That's actually a car I would really like to drive in. Look at this.
What could this be? Could it be a promotion to first driver? I think it might be. You read the details. You've earned it.
Well, 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 we have been promoted to driver number 1 status as Lance Stroll sits right across the table from us. He's probably not very happy. That's why he's not looking at me right now. He doesn't want to make eye contact. But I said we could get promoted, and as you can see, we did. So that's very good. We're going to get a few extra resource points every weekend now. and hopefully our performance improves even more. So that's pretty good. So now we got 2 podiums this season, which is awesome. But that's going to do it for this episode of F1 2017 Career Mode. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next time for the British Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys come back for that. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.